Photoshop just dropped its April 2026 update. There are some seriously powerful new features that can speed up your workflow and completely change how you edit. In this video, I'm breaking down the most important updates. No fluff, just the tools you'll actually use. I'll show you exactly how they work and when to use them so you can start taking advantage of them right away. Let's jump in. So now in this first example, you're going to learn how to clean up your image layers by automatically deleting empty layers and renaming them with layer cleanup. So over here in your layers panel, there is a broom, the first icon. Click on that. In this dialog box, you have different options. If you have empty layers, you can delete them. If you want to rename any of the layers, Photoshop will assign descriptive names to the layers based on the content of the layer. And you can apply it to either the entire document or selected layers. I'm going to apply it to the entire document and I'm going to hit apply. So what it's doing is staying over here and you can see that it's renamed some layers like woman in black dress, woman in ruined room, woman in blue room. So it did apply it to some of these layers. So this is a good feature if you find yourself not in the habit of renaming your layers. This feature, you're going to learn how to turn a pixel layer into a rotatable 3D object with the rotate object feature. There's a number of ways you can get to this feature. I'm going to hit Command T, and in the contextual taskbar, you'll see something called rotate object. Click on that and you get a message. Rotate object uses 8 bits per channel. Fine color detail may be lost. Continue. So this is temporary. It's finding the subject in the image and you'll get a image that is a pixel layer, and don't worry how it looks right now, but in your contextual taskbar there's a couple of ways you can use your rotate. You have a few controls here. So this control right here is the tilt, and you can also click on the contextual taskbar. There is a slider right here and you can use that to tilt your image. This is the rotate control right here. You can rotate it. Again, in the contextual taskbar you can do the same thing. You have a slider, and over here you have a perspective control. I'm going to rotate a little bit more so it looks like that car was coming around the curve a little bit differently. So again, yes, this is a low resolution preview that appears while you're rotating the image, but once I hit done, you're going to get the full resolution image, and there it is. If you want to go back in and edit the rotation again, in the contextual taskbar, you can either click there. Over in the layers panel, you'll see that there's an icon here. It's a rotate icon. You can click on that. That'll put you back in that edit mode. And one last thing about this image here is notice after the rotation was edited, you have the harmonize button available. So you can click on that. It's going to harmonize the image with the background. In this case, the car will be harmonized with the racetrack, and you have your options. I like that one, I think, mainly because of the shadows and everything. Let's do another example with this. So let's do an example with a person this time. So I have a model here and I want to put her in this background, and I'm going to rotate her slightly. So there she is in the background, and I'm not going to worry too much about the height of the model right now. So I'm just going to show her close up like this. But now what we can do is I'm going to select the layer, the model layer. So now I'm going to rotate her slightly. I'm going to click Command T, and in the contextual taskbar, click on Rotate Image. And you're going to see the low resolution preview as it's getting ready to rotate. I'm going to turn her something like this. Click Done, and she is looking off to the side more and body's rotated more. And just like the other example, if I want to harmonize the model to the background, click on the Harmonize button. And as usual, you get your 3 different variations. I think I kind of like the last variation. In this last example, I wanted to show you what you can do with a rectangle. Before you rotate a rectangle, you need to rasterize that. Same for a text layer. So I'm going to right click on my rectangle layer and say rasterize layer. Now I can say Command T, click on rotate object, and I like to use these controls down here on the contextual taskbar. I click on rotate, click on tilt, and you can see that you can tilt it all the way to see the top and the bottom of the rectangle. I want to change the perspective a little bit, and then click on done. And then we have our rectangle that we rotated. 3 examples using the new rotate objects feature. In this new feature, there is a actions panel that we have now in Photoshop to quickly apply common edits like resize images and export files. And to get to this, you have a new icon here on the right-hand side of the toolbar. You have this icon with the arrow, and also on the contextual taskbar, there is the same open action panel icon. So I'll click on that, and under the Essentials panel, you have all these different actions, and you can hover over any of those and it will change your image. And these are all basic adjustments. All these tasks you can do related to the subject and background. Select subject, remove background, blur background. You have all these creative effects. You can add a vignette, add grain, change it to black and white. You have all these guidelines that you can add to help you in your workflow. Resizing, resize for Instagram. These are some common tasks that you might use to speed up your workflow. And you have the default actions that were here before, as well as maybe some custom actions of your own. But just to show you, I'm going to click on Enhance Colors, and all of these are non-destructive. When you click on it, you have a layer. Here in the Layers panel, you can use your opacity, and in this case, I'm dropping that a little bit, the effect. All these new actions have options, so you can edit the action, play, apply on certain areas in your image. If you hit this gear, you can change the name of your action, description, go through the steps, so you can modify your action right here. But again, very helpful. I want to resize for Instagram landscape. And what it did was it made another document when it resized it. So you have the original and it made a copy with your resize action. So those are some pretty handy actions to speed up what you're doing. A lot of the common things you might do right there in the actions panel. So this next feature, you're going to be able to remove unwanted wires and other distractions. I'm going to click on the Move tool in the toolbar, and under Find Distractions, first of all, I have Generative AI on, Sample All Layers. I've got that checked, and it's going to create a new layer every time it does a remove, and remove after each stroke. I have that unchecked. Click on Find Distractions. The one we're interested in is General Distractions. Click Find, and here are all the general distractions. Each of these has a color next to it, like for instance, poles. I'll uncheck that. You can see the color changing. You can click on the swatch of each of those distractions. And if I want to change the color for poles, I can do that right here. And you can uncheck any of these that you do not want it to remove. But the first go around here, I'm going to leave everything checked. You know, some of these things may actually belong here, but we're doing this as an example, like barriers. I'll uncheck that, and you can see that there's a barrier so people don't go out on the street right there. But for right now, we'll leave that checked. I will check on the check mark here at the top, and it's removing all of those. And so this has got a lot going on here, so I'm going to find distractions again, wires and cables. This is going to get more of those wires and cables here. And I'm going to find distractions again, see what else it'll find. It found a lot more poles and fixtures. So that one's got two colors. It's got a pole color and a fixture color. You see it right there in the middle of the screen, and that's what I'm interested in right now. I'm interested in, see what else it sees. Visual clutter, that's okay. I'm going to uncheck everything else but the poles and click on that, and there we go. That's pretty clean. And each time you do that, you can see in the layers panel, you get a new remove tool edit. It creates a layer every time you use the remove tool, and you can still brush. I'm going to get these cars out of the intersection. I think they ran a red light anyway. I really do. And hit the check mark. And you can keep on removing all this stuff that it left, these artifacts here. But that is the remove distractions specifically. You have a list of general distractions. Here is a feature that you've probably seen in Camera Raw, and it's reflection removal. It is now in the main Photoshop area. And note that this file I'm using here is a JPEG file. I've tried a JPEG and a PNG, and up here in Edit, you see reflection removal. Now, if I try a PSD file, I'm making a point of this first, just in case you want to try it and you're wondering why it does not work. So this is a PSD file. If you go to Edit, reflection removal is grayed out. I tried this for a TIFF file, and if I open it up from Lightroom and send it to Photoshop, same thing, this option for reflection removal is grayed out. So if you have a raw file and you want to take off the reflection, you need to open it up in Photoshop directly. So it comes up in Camera Raw, and you need to do your reflection removal right here under the remove icon, and there's reflections right there. Because if you open it up, an object in Photoshop, and come up to the edit menu, reflection removal will be grayed out. So again, raw files, you have to do it in Camera Raw. So this is a JPEG image. I come up to edit, reflection removal, and I have the checkbox marked, create separate reflection layer. And of course, preview is going to be quicker than standard or best as far as time it takes to render. I'm going to go for best and click OK. It says estimated time 30 seconds. We're not going to wait that long. And there is our image. And notice in the layers panel, we have a reflection layer and a reflection removal layer. So it created two different layers for us because we checked that option. So here's the layer in back of the reflection, and here's the layer of just the reflection itself. There you have it. Reflection removal is in the main part of Photoshop, and you get two different layers created for you. This is the last feature I'm going to go over, and it is dynamic text. So dynamic text is going to automatically adjust text sizes to keep content within defined boundaries or shapes. It can be applied as a block, circle, arc, or bow. And here I have a text layer, and with the contextual taskbar, you see you have this icon right here. So when I click on that, it's going to set the dynamic text option. So now it is a dynamic text, and this is the block. So it's going to scale the text and reflows to fit within a rectangular bounding box. You have a circle, you can move that down here, an arch or a bow, and we'll also do a stack. So that is our dynamic text. Let me know in the comments, which feature are you actually going to use? If you found this helpful, hit like and consider subscribing. I've got more Photoshop and Lightroom tutorials coming that will help you edit faster and smarter. And if you want to keep the momentum going, check out the video on the screen. Remember, it's never too late to learn. Thanks for watching.